Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, that's right, of course, continuing on reviewing Christmassy films on the weekdays, and you read the title, you know exactly what the next Christmassy film it is that I'm reviewing, and as it was clearly, mentioned in the last review video by both me and my dad, and yeah, as of now, I can see why he bailed out on this, and even if I considered him joining me reviewing it, and this Christmassy film starring Billy Bob Thornton, and which was also mentioned in the last review video. That's right, guys, I am reviewing from 2003, BadSanta. Yes, BadSanta. Oh my gosh, like, after seeing this movie fully, like, what did I just watch? I'm being serious. I'm sure some of you, and for anybody who would watch this for the first time, like, would not expect for it to be like this. I wasn't for sure. Oh my gosh. Like, I've seen a few bits and pieces of it, but not fully, and I just really didn't know what to expect until I fully watched it, and yeah, I tell ya. Yeah, so the second Christmassy film that Billy Bob Thornton did the same year, because he also did Universal Pictures' Love, Actually. He just had a small appearance because he was the U.S. president, but for this, yeah, he's the main star. So yeah. So as always, read the description / the story. In this dark comedy, a crotchety, if I'm saying that one word right, Willie T. Stokes, played by Billy Bob Thornton, and his partner, played by Tony Cox, reunite once a year for a holiday con, posing as a mall Santa and his elf. They rip off shopping outlets on Christmas Eve. This year, however, Willie is falling apart, he's depressed and alcoholic, and his erotic behavior draws the suspension of mall security, played by Bernie Mac. But when befriending a small boy brings out his kinder side, Willie begins to wonder if there is still some hope for him. Okay, so I don't know where the heck to start off, because what's going on in the movie, like, yeah, and again, if any of you have seen this, yeah, you would know. So, yeah, again, Willie and Marcus, that's the name of Willie's sidekick, played by Billy Bob Thornton and Tony Cox, and they also have an Asian lady with them named Lois, played by Lauren Tom. Yeah, I'm familiar with Lauren Tom. So they're basically crooks, and, most notably Marcus and Willie pretending to be Santa and an elf and breaking into malls, like, after they're closed, turning off, like, the security system, right as the security guards, like, turn it on, like, a countdown, arming, etc., and Marcus always there to shut it off, and, they cleverly, because of how they do this, like, going into the malls after it's closing, stealing what they can, and, just going from mall to mall every once a year during Christmas. And, yeah, so many months later, and where Willie is residing at, I think at California, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Well, he gets the call from Marcus that the time has come to do so, and it doesn't take them too long to get the job working as a mall Santa and elf, and I believe, yeah, I think he's the manager of the mall, and that being Bob Pisca, if I'm saying the last name right, played by the late legendary John Ritter. And also the fact that BadSanta is dedicated to John Ritter, and this being one of his last films. This, and he also did Clifford's Really Big Movie. Because, yeah, him being the voice of Clifford the dog, and, in the series, Clifford the dog. And Bob, because his interaction with Willie and Marcus, pretty funny. And the fact that he, I think a couple of times, yeah, goes to Gin, however his name is pronounced, played by the late, legendary Bernie Mac. Because Bob comes to him about, these two guys, and, when he comes to him, like, getting more evidence, like, this, and he was the mall security, like, the main security guy of the mall, and, John Ritter's character coming to him, talking about, what these two are like, and so on, and the security guy, played by Bernie Mac, because he actually suspects something about them, and when he comes face to face and confronts them, and until I get to that, and the character of Willie, because this dude has been through so much, and there's a bit of narration in this film. Like, he had been married twice, been in jail once, and he had a horrible father, just so abusive. No wonder he turned out how he was, like, it doesn't take him too long, like, for one thing, because to meet two people that would, well, change his life forever, and that being the Kid, that's what he's called, and that's how he's titled, but we do find out later on what his actual name is, being played by a young Brett Kelly, and when he's at a bar, I want to say somewhere in the mall, he meets with the bartender, Sue, played by Lauren Graham. And Lauren Graham, I've seen her in a lot, and people would remember her best being the mom in the Gilmore Girls series. Yeah. And they just hit it off right there and then, and she has a thing for someone dressing up as Santa, especially she meets who she falls in love with, which that being Willie. The times, like, at least we don't, even though, because, for this being rated R, like, there are some rated R films where we really don't see, like, the sex going on, and for this, like, you just see it, like, at a certain angle, you know what I'm saying? Like, if some of you that have seen this movie, and you know what's going on, you get my point. And there was this, like, random guy at the bar who was just out of nowhere staring at Willie, and it was a weird confrontation that Willie had with this guy, and if you've seen that part. And, because the Kid, because he first encountered Willie at the mall, because the Kid came to the mall by himself, I should say. He took a bus and just bullies at first, like just taunting him and calling him names and so on, and yet, that's the thing with bullies, because, they bully someone that, is innocent. They bully an innocent kid. You get what I'm saying. And the Kid asking Santa, because it's Willie dressing up as Santa, he wants a pink stuffed elephant. And when Willie is confronted by that random guy at the bar that was staring at him, the Kid comes to Willie's defense, and throughout the film, he calls Willie Santa, and the Kid should know that he's not Santa. And the thing is, like, well, yeah, the characters in this movie are some very interesting characters. Some of them, acting stupid, most notably the Kid. And not to be harsh on the Kid character, but yeah, he's a nice and sweet, innocent kid, but seriously, like, him calling him Santa, Willie that is, like, oh my gosh, Kid, he's not Santa! Even Willie, at one point, very later on in the movie, just flat out tells him that he's not Santa. And Willie offers the Kid a drive back home, and we see that in this, very nice house, like, he's living with his grandmother, being played by, well, where was she? Oh, there she is. Oh, she's uncredited. I did not know that. The grandma being played by Cloris Leachman. Leachman? I think I said her name right. Yeah, the late, legendary Cloris Leachman playing the grandmother. And it turns out, because, like, the whereabouts of the Kid's parents, well, that's because that, I think it's obvious, like, when he first mentions his mother, because with Jesus and the angels, well, she unfortunately died. But, and as for his father, well, the Kid says that, he's climbing mountains and such, but what we realize a little bit later, that his dad's in jail. So, and you know what? The movie never establishes what his dad did. So, yeah. And, Willie technically befriending the Kid, like, he just flat out, like, stays there at times and just out of nowhere befriending him. I mean, you know, for Willie, because again, like, he's full of it, you know? But at least, like, you know, he is being kind and nice to the kid, you know? And, you know, his relationship with Sue, because the couple of times where they're having sex, and she does stay over at the house for, you know, at times, and she too befriending the kid. And, you know, the many scenes with Willie and his robbing partners, you know, Marcus and Lois, you know, not that much on the character of Lois. She's just there, you know, just helping out and driving them and so on, you know. But Marcus knows that Willie is a handful, and oh my gosh, like, I tell ya, the swearing, there's a lot of swearing, and each of them, like Willie and Marcus, insulting each other. And coming back to the characters played by the late John Ritter and Bernie Mac, because, you know, scenes with them, like whether if they're on screen together or, you know, just them, you know, separate. Well, knowing, you know, funny guys like John Ritter and Bernie Mac, because, you know, of course they're hilarious, and they were hilarious. I think one of the, you know, best parts of this movie, in my opinion, you know, because it's John Ritter and Bernie Mac. What more do I have to say? Especially because, like, one moment where John Ritter's character finds Willie having sex with a lady in, like, in a dresser, I want to say, you know, in shops where, you know, you can, like, change clothes and such, you know, that. And John Ritter explaining and describing to Bernie Mac's character what he saw, and because, again, like, he's telling Bernie Mac about, you know, what Willie and Marcus, like, what they're doing in the mall and such, and it is funny. It's funny. And what Bernie Mac says in return, like, and, you know, he's like, I think he's like sucking and eating oranges. And I also found out, because fun fact, the director of BadSanta, Terry Zwigoff, I think I am saying his last name right, he had to be in another room because he kept ruining takes with John Ritter and Bernie Mac because he couldn't help but laugh. And yeah, it's understandable because, again, this is John Ritter and Bernie Mac we're talking about. Two legendary, funny guys, you know, and may they both rest in peace for sure. And, you know, I'm a bit surprised that there wasn't that much of John Ritter being in this film, but, you know, it is one of those movies, you know, with someone, especially if it's an actor's, like, last film before he or she, you know, sadly died. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's one of those things. And for Bernie Mac, scenes with his character, and, you know, again, him being, I think, yeah, the main mall security guy, and how he interacts with some people in the mall, like, you know, him confronting a young boy who was looking around in, you know, a video store section of the mall, and just confronting that boy, and, you know, thinking he was gonna steal something, and taking away what he already have, especially something that his grandmother gave him. Oh my gosh, what a horrible person, you know? And even when he's getting his foot, like, massaged, I want to say, you know, like, there's a section like that in some malls, you know what I'm saying? And him just, like, telling the lady who's, like, massaging his foot and such how to do it right or so, and it's funny. And, yeah, and continuing on with Bernie Mac, because his character confronting Willie and Marcus, because apparently he wants to be in on it. So, yeah, he's basically I guess you could say a traitor to being you know, a main security guard mall, a main mall security guard, I should say. And, you know, because again, he wants in on this, and he keeps on telling them he wants half. Yeah, even, like, doing a British accent and speaking with his mouth, like, it's funny, you know? And, yeah, so he's in on it, of course, and, you know, Willie and especially Marcus, you know, they have no choice but to, you know, accept and make the deal with Bernie Mac, yeah. And more with the kid and Willie, because scenes with them, and at times the kid asking Willie, you know, because he still calls him Santa, asking him if he wants milk or cookies or sandwiches. Like, he at times asks him that and he's not interested, he doesn't want any. And and even with the grandmother, because she's doing nothing, and she doesn't care if, you know, strangers come into the house, you know? Even like, say, when Sue is in the house at one point, and they come into where the grandmother is laying on a chair, and they think, and I think, you know, I think to some audiences, and I was thinking this too, like thinking that she's dead and she's not breathing, she's just staying still. And it seems like that she is dead, but, you know, when Willie gets close up to like her chest or something, like she like wakes up. So she's all right, and she then like says like she'll make them sandwiches or something like that. Even when, say, I think like, yeah, when Sue was at the house and you know, Willie escorted Sue out of the house. And also, what was funny was that Willie told the kid that, you know, that he was, you know, dating Mrs. Claus's sister, and he's referring to Sue. And, yeah, when Sue at one point leaves the house, yeah, because at one point Willie passes out, but then he wakes up to hearing the kid screaming. He accidentally cut his hand. How did he cut his hand? Well, the movie never establishes what happened to him. And, you know, Willie tried helping him by pouring, like, I want to say whiskey or alcohol or whatever. I mean, it stinged, but that pretty much didn't help. But eventually, of course, like, the kid stopped the bleeding. Oh my gosh, Willie. And, yeah, especially because, like, also, like, with the kid, like, getting bullied once again, and he at one point got a wedgie. Poor kid. Even got a black eye. Jeez. And by the way, because with the kid, we do see the kid's father, because Bernie Mac's character going to the prison to, you know, get information from the kid's father, and the kid's father, named Roger Merman, played by Ethan Phillips. And, you know, for us Trekkies, we would know him best from Star Trek Voyager. Yeah, the one alien who was the Voyager's chef. Yeah, him. And he made an uncredited cameo in the holodeck of Star Trek First Contact, if anybody remembers that. So again, Bernie Mac coming to the kid's father, like asking him if he's aware about, you know, two people that are living in the kid's house and, you know, his house, and he's unaware of this, and, you know, just getting information from the kid's father, and that's all he needs, and the father just completely unaware of what's going on. And yeah, so that was Ethan Phillips' cameo, and two other cameos that I can't forget to mention. At the beginning of the film, and when Marcus and Willie, they first arrived at the mall, and right before they were hired, another guy who was playing the mall Santa, Harrison, well, because he basically flat out quit, and he was played by Tommy McGowan. Yeah, I think I got his last name right. Yeah, Tommy McGowan from Frasier, the guy who runs the radio station. Yeah, him. And also and before Willie, you know, stays at the kid's house for quite a while, because he was staying at a motel, well, he notices that his motel room is getting checked, and he asks Apple, if I'm saying her name right, being played by Octavia Spencer. I think it was probably a lady that he made out with, and asking her, like, what's going on in his motel room, and, you know, she tells him that it's being checked by a policeman, and, well, we don't see if it's a policeman, and we don't even see the police car. And so he basically stays at the kid's house, Willie, and yeah, from there on, and with Sue showing up as well. Yeah, and also, another cameo that we get at the beginning of this film, and, you know, a mall that they were at the start of this film, Willie and Marcus and Lois, we get a cameo of Alex Borstein, who plays a mom, having her kids take a picture with Santa, and Alex Borstein, and because I mentioned the name Lois, the voice of Lois Griffin from Family Guy. Yeah, that's her. So, yeah, so, and, oh yeah, the one guy who confronted Willie, just, what was this guy's problem, As I mentioned, like, him randomly staring at Willie at that bar, and when Willie first met Sue, being played by AJ Nadu, if I'm saying the last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. Yeah, so him. Okay, so more on the kid character, because he had an advent calendar, and, what he describes and tells Willie that, whenever, opening an advent calendar door, because how advent calendars work, there would be a piece of chocolate. And at one point, and before, I think Willie passed out, and right before, he woke up to the kid screaming because of his hand being cut, he basically ripped the advent calendar and eating some of the chocolate, and he felt bad doing it, and thus he put in stuff like aspirin, a candy corn. Oh my gosh. And with the kid and Willie, because there was one moment where because at one point, because, like, Willie was getting much worse. In fact, he really embarrassed himself at the mall when he was making his way to sit down and with kids being on his lap. And let me tell you, like, scenes with the kids, like, on his lap, like, oh my gosh, like, one of them spitting in his face, like, I want to say sneezing. Ugh, it's gross. And so again, when, like, he shows up at one point, and he doesn't have the hat on, he doesn't have the beard, and he's a complete mess. And that's when, like, it just got worse for him, and Bernie Mac being there as well. And at that moment, because, like, Bernie Mac and Marcus, like, throwing insults at one another, I tell ya. And at one point, Willie was going to kill himself, literally, in the garage, in the car, like, yeah. But sure enough, the kid coming up to Willie, and he wrote something, I forget what it was, like a piece of paper, like, a couple of times where he showed Willie, like, what he wrote, like, I guess, like a speech or poem, whatever. And, before Willie thinks that he's going to die, he asks the kid to give the police a piece of paper. And I think, it was to prove and to show the police that, he was innocent, and I think he was also apologizing. Yeah, I think I'm correct on that. And Willie noticed that the kid had a black eye, and this actually snaps Willie out of killing himself, and he starts to lighten up when he helps the kid by confronting the bullies that we saw bully the kid early on in the film, and by literally punching one of them right at a tree. So that was good on Willie's part, and it was at that moment where, as I said, he's starting to lighten up, and as I mentioned, like, the kid, and also Sue, they changed his life forever. Yeah, made him a much better man. Like, as the movie was proceeding, like, he was slowly but surely getting better, okay? And telling Marcus about that, and so on. And to speed things up, because, Willie, like, really, like, being close to the kid, and we do find out the kid's actual name, and his actual name, well, we know that his father's last name is Merman, so yeah, the kid's last name being Merman, but his first name being Thurman. Yeah, Thurman Merman, so that's the kid's name. So Thurman, Willie, and Sue decorating the house for the holidays, and even before that, because Marcus and Lois, they confronted Bernie Mac's character, because, like, they basically pretended and lied to him that their car kind of broke down, and they asked for his help, and, well, that's when, like, because when the car is activated, Lois rams into Bernie Mac, and they basically betray him. Like, yeah, they did not want to be a part of the deal that Bernie Mac offered them, and, they couldn't get out of that deal. Because, again, Bernie Mac wanting to be a part of this and to have half, as he said. And coming back to Willie and Thurman, now I can say the kid's actual name, Thurman, finishing up decorating the house and lighting those like paper candle lights, outside of the house, and Willie telling Thurman that, he'll be back soon. And I think because, he tells Thurman that he's going to move on soon, go to another place, and, well, as him and Marcus and Lois have done, like traveling from mall to mall in different parts of like the country, once a year, and as I established. And, he'll come back later after what he has to do, and he does ask Thurman to make some sandwiches for him, and when he gets back. And we see Willie at the mall, like, once again, Willie, Marcus, and Lois, they prepare to, rob from the mall, and, even, like, say, there are some parts where Willie is, like, breaking into a safe, and, he can't figure out at first, like, what the combination is to this safe that's in the mall, but, of course, eventually it does break, they get in, and Willie, I think, he promised Thurman that he would get him a Christmas present, and actually, because a little bit early, Thurman did give Willie a Christmas present, and that being a pickle, and the pickle was, covered in blood because of the kid's, like, cut hand, but Willie still accepted it, and he liked it, and for Willie, he basically gets Thurman a stuffed pink elephant, but at one point, Thurman asking Willie, and again, Thurman calling Willie Santa, to this time not get a pink stuffed elephant, just a plain elephant. And Willie couldn't remember which elephant not to get for him, and, that being the pink one. And, he at first wants to get the purple elephant, but then he goes for the pink one, because again, he couldn't remember, so he grabbed the stuffed pink elephant. And that's when Marcus and Lois betrayed Willie. Marcus and Lois, they've had it with Willie, and right when Willie was starting to lighten up and become a better person, and, right before Marcus is about to kill Willie, the mall's security guards show up, and Willie mentioned Thurman, and if this was Thurman's doing, like, calling the security guards or something, I don't know, like, basically, the policemen, like, they showed up, I should say. It's the policemen, not the security guards of the mall. And, bad luck for Marcus and Lois, because, they of course do get arrested, but as for Willie, because he is determined to go back to the house and to give Thurman the stuffed pink elephant that he has been asking for. And, a car chase, and at one point, Willie actually getting shot by the police. 3 kids come out of a balcony, and they see what's happening, and they scream, like, thinking that Santa's getting shot. And what happens next is, well, it turned out to be a pretty good Christmas, especially for Thurman. And Willie, too, because Willie actually did not go to jail, because Thurman did give the piece of paper that Willie asked Thurman to give to the police, telling them all about, about Willie himself and so on, and Thurman, of course, did get the stuffed pink elephant, and Willie gave Thurman a letter, because Willie has been recuperating, from being in the hospital, and, he'll be getting out soon, and Willie also mentioned about Thurman's dad, because in about 3 months he'll be out of jail, and Sue, aside from Thurman's grandmother, Sue has been looking out and taking care of Thurman, and, and as for Marcus and Lois, well, they of course went to jail, and then at one point, because, like, outside of the house, Thurman is fixing his bicycle, and also Willie gave Thurman a shirt, and that has something on the back of it, like, words, like, it's pretty funny, and Thurman confronting one of the bullies, especially like the tall bully. And also because another important scene is that Willie was helping out Thurman to stand up to bullies and to actually fight and so on. And he had Marcus help out Thurman at a gym section. It was a pretty funny scene, and each of them like kicking each other in like the stomach and such, and they're both on the ground. It was funny. And sure enough, yeah, Thurman basically kicking the bully, in the crotch. And yeah, the bully got what he deserved this time from Thurman. And thus Thurman rides on his bike, and we see what's what it says on the back of his shirt, and he gives the finger to the bully. And just what a great way to end it right there. Because it's funny, of course. Also, one more thing I'd like to point out is that the music in this, well, it is one of those movies where it would just have, like some random music and sometimes, songs, and, for BadSanta and this being a Christmassy film, well, for songs being played, well, a lot of classic Christmas songs, yeah. So that's nice. BadSanta is an interesting Christmassy film, I should say, and probably not what you would expect at first, especially for me. As I said, like, I didn't know what to expect until, fully watching this Christmassy film. I tell ya, there are, of course, some hilarious scenes in this, and I, of course, laughed at times and chuckled. And a lot of swearing and insults in this, oh my gosh, and some gross out, humor here and there, just everything to BadSanta was interesting, and that's all I can really say. The storytelling was okay, and the casting was pretty good. This movie had a pretty good cast, from Billy Bob Thornton, Tony Cox, Lauren Graham, the late John Ritter, and the late Bernie Mac. Yeah, just everything about BadSanta was interesting, not that bad, and it's okay for what it is. And I'm giving BadSanta, and it's on my mind, 6 out of 10 stars. Yes, 6 out of 10 stars for BadSanta. And what about you guys? What did you think of BadSanta itself? Like, were you two not expecting what this would turn out to be like, just everything about this, like, I tell you, and what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. So, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of BadSanta. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. And of course, continuing on, reviewing more Christmassy films on the weekdays. Stay tuned later tonight, because the next Christmassy film I'm going to be reviewing is a lighter / happy Christmassy film, and it's a musical. And to best describe it, well, it is something Christmas Carol, and it features Buddy the Elf and Deadpool. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm sure some of you do. Stay tuned for that later tonight. And happy anniversary to BadSanta. Take care, peace out, and happy holidays / Merry Christmas to you all.